Hi guys, welcome to the team call for Wednesday. I'm like, wait, what is the date? October 11th. I originally was going to go live in the team page, but I feel like when I do the live, I don't get to see your comments and questions and things. So, hold on, I just had a thought I needed to write down that I wanted to make sure I went over with you guys. Okay. So I'm sure you guys have noticed that the Coach Online office has changed. And I'm super excited for it. I know that for anytime you change anything technical, there's going to be, a workaround period. So they've been working really hard behind the scenes to just make sure that everything's working. So if you do see something that isn't working properly, there's actually a little tab in the corner that says feedback, and you'll want to click that and report it to Beachbody, because if we don't tell them that things aren't working, they won't be able to fix them. But the majority of the things that they're aware, so much has already changed even from 2 days ago when they rolled that out. So if you guys haven't really logged into your Coach Online office and have no idea what I'm talking about, maybe you're newer, you will want to make sure that you go and click Manage My Business or Monitor My Business. Sorry, it's not in front of me. And there's an area to update your profile. So even if you had your profile filled out before with your photo, your name, your contact info, you're going to want to redo that. So it gives you a chance to put a profile picture, your contact info, your next challenge group date, which is pretty cool. But keep in mind, you have to keep going back to update that. And on the next page, you get to put a little blurb about you and your coaching business, who you are, and a before and after photo. It's just one photo though, so you'll want to make it side by side. It's not two photos before and then after, which is so much better than it used to be. And then it asks for all your social media links like YouTube, Facebook, so on and so forth. So super easy to set up. Just make sure that you guys go in and do that. If you have a team page or any coaches, you might want to make sure that you kind of communicate that to them as well. Is what necessary? The profile stuff?
Yeah, it is. Since we don't use our profiles anymore for sending direct, or like how we used to. Is it even necessary to?
Well, for customer leads, it is, because most people. Sometimes the customer leads are all, and I know that the entire interface is changing, and they really want to improve the connection of the leads to the coaches. So, I didn't spend a long time on my profile. I spent like 5-10 minutes doing it. So, and once it's done, it's done. Good question, though. Does anyone else, kind of while we're on the topic of online office stuff, there's just a couple more things I want to go over. But do you guys have any questions thus far about it? Sorry, my voice is like... No? Okay, if you guys think of anything, you can just ask me in the chat box. But the other thing is, so now I have to kind of go back and redo some training videos. So just let your new coaches know, if you've signed them up this week, that we just got a new Coach Online office. So some of your training videos are really not going to line up. And so just ask them to give us the next week or two to kind of work the kinks out. I don't want to make a video and then have them change something. So I'm going to give it the next week or two. Kim Carver has been amazing and actually doing tutorials for us as leaders. And he's going to put them in a YouTube playlist. So I don't even have to make the videos. You guys don't have to make the videos. So we'll have links for that stuff later. And we actually requested that Beachbody do a new Coach Online office tutorial, because as you guys have been around, I'm sure that you're just like, oh, I didn't ever know that, and I didn't know this, and the business is never ending. There's always going to be things that we're learning, especially with how our team and our placement works. It's going to be a little new for a little bit. So just if you guys have questions, let us know. I just don't want people to freak out. It's actually, when I learned about the new updates, and I was told 2 years ago this was coming out. So they've spent the 2 years working out what we actually wanted as a network. And now we're going to be able to have that, which is awesome. The other, if you weren't at Summit, the other main reason that they did this is so that when you send someone to purchase something, for example, a challenge pack on your website, they can actually add in other add-on items to their cart. So when they're going to buy an all-access challenge pack with Chocolate Shakeology, Beachbody is going to suggest that they purchase Energize. So I'm sure you guys have seen like, oh, suggested purchases when you guys are online shopping. That's going to be part of our customer experience, which is awesome. So we can actually, I don't know if it's called an upsell, an add-on, whatever you want, but our interface will be completely different. So that's exciting. Okay, moving on. Recognition. Let's do some recognition. Do you guys have any recognition for tonight?
I want to shout out one of my coaches, Melanie Marie, real quick. She's halfway to Emerald, and this girl is like working her ass off, number one, on her own journey. She's down 70 pounds, guys, in 4 months, just so you know. And besides that, she's working really hard because she knows Thursday's rank advancements and she wants to get that one more coach and hit Emerald this week. So I'm proud of her.
Yes, I love it. And it's so funny because I remember when Melanie came in, you were like, oh, I'm not really sure if she wants to do the business, loves her job. Like some people think they have to quit their job to do Beachbody, and not all of us want to do that. And then she went to Super Saturday. That's why we say events. And I know that clicked for her. So, and she has a great role model. So keep rocking, girl. And don't forget to take really good full body pictures from head to toe. Have someone take them for you, use self-timer, whatever you got to do, so you can submit them like Haley did to the Beachbody Challenge, because that's awesome. 70 in 4 months, so awesome.
I do too.
Go for it.
Last week I said Sarah was super close, and this week, tomorrow, she'll rank advance her husband's account to Diamond, so that's really exciting. And also, I have a brand new coach on the call right now, so Juliana. She's really killing it and a total rock star already, and she just started. So
awesome. Welcome to the new coach, and congrats to Sarah. Sarah, I don't remember if I told you when I was chatting with you the other day that my husband hit 1 star before I did, or 2 star before I did. So I know the feeling of having that account and, you know, your husband gets the recognition, but it's really you. And so it's kind of this weird thing, but having depth in your business, I know Candace's team yesterday about that. So you probably heard me talk about it. So really cool. Congrats. Was there anyone else? No? Okay. I feel so out of breath. I feel like I cannot catch my breath. Okay, expand lungs. My passion, as you guys know, is just like life transformation and personal development. And even myself lately, you know, I'm really hard on myself for my business numbers. For example, bringing in new coaches and Success Club and, you know, all the accolades, and like I just want all the things because I love abundance and I just love setting huge goals. And you know, right now is this weird transition for me of going from like a hardcore fitness person to pregnant to, I don't know, it's like this transition in my life. And so I've had to figure out who I'm even talking to in my posts and who I'm even helping and what is my mission changing, because we all know that like mom life becomes a whole different chapter in your life. So it's been this weird transition for me, and I share this with you because there's going to be growing pains in your business where you kind of feel like you don't know what the F you're doing. And I have become obsessed with like becoming a champion and teaching other people how to completely rewire their brain in this business of you're not an employee anymore. You have now started a business that you are learning from the ground up. And even 4 years in, I'm still learning things. And so I think that a lot of us question, like, can I do it? Or we choose to not put the work in because we don't feel like we can do it. And I've even had moments, you guys saw my vulnerable post this week. I mean, that was more so about like how I was feeling about my body, especially being a fitness coach. It's really hard to watch it change. But in my business, I'm at Success Club Zero right now. And so this happens all the time. I talked to Candace's team yesterday about this roller coaster and the expectation of the hard that you'll face. And I always want to know why people quit or give up or feel like they're not good enough. And to me, my only option has always been just keep going and show up every day. But I know that I have to be able to help you guys see that for yourselves. So today, like, I'm at Success Club Zero, which is very unlike me on the 11th of the month. I haven't signed up a new coach that is gung-ho for a while. No offense to my loves that are here, but some of you kind of are half in, half out. And so I'm like, it's October 2017, and I'm just like, where's all the me's who, like, you know, just want to show up and do the hard shit? And I was like, okay, well, Colleen, you have to teach people how to do that, because it's so easy for some people to say that. And so I've had to dig deep in my personal development, A, for myself, and B, as a leader, of how can I pay this forward to people? How can I help empower them? And my personal development routine is kind of chaotic. I often will listen to a podcast and I'm like, this is not hitting the spot. And then I go pick up a book and I'm like, that isn't hitting the spot. I went through 4 different books today until I heard something that spoke to me. So I often hear from you guys when I ask what PD you're reading, you're like, oh, well, this isn't speaking to me, but you're not doing anything about it. And so I want you to know that it's cool to put a book down. It's cool I was listening to, someone recommended I listen to the Oprah Soul Sessions, I think they're called, and I didn't pick the right episode, and I was like, hell no, this is not for me. And so I literally, like, ran to my phone and was like, stop, like, this is not injecting positivity and inspiration into my veins. And so, you know, until 4:30 today, I was searching for my inspiration, and I was trying to be extremely bold in my social media today to make some freaking moves in my business and help some people. And so I know the moments of sitting at your computer and having, like, what's going on? Why isn't this working for me? So I have this hunger to master the business. And maybe some of you don't have the crazy obsession like I do, or some of our rock stars do. But when I sat down and wrote out some notes for this call, I was like, how can I break down what I've learned to get through the hard moments? And I was like, all right, we're going to talk PD today. We're going to talk about, like, the awkward growth moments. We're going to talk about belief. And when I go to seminars, like, Brendan Burchard has been everything for me. I'm going to his next event in November. I'm so excited. And I still to this day use all the stuff that I've learned. So here's what I have. You guys, and I was going to make slides. It just didn't make the schedule today. It takes too much time for me. But if you guys take any notes or anything, feel free. But I've talked about that book, The Untethered Soul. And it's a difficult read for the first section, but that was the book that made me realize why people stay stuck in their head. And, you know, like, there's so many of you that told me at Summit, I'm doing this, Colleen, or at the team retreat, the 42 bodies that were there, Colleen, I'm doing this. And then we are in October, and so I'm like, why can't I help them? And it just comes down to, is it they don't want it? No, you guys are still here. Like, clearly you do. So kudos to you for not giving up, but I would love to figure out how I can help you guys tackle some action-based things. And when I first started speaking on mastering your mindset and personal development and helping coaches in this business, I have always said that your success in this business will equal the amount of personal growth you go through. Because what happens is you could crush a workout, you can hit Success Club. What happens when life gets hard? We crumble because we haven't done the foundational work to make us pretty much unbreakable. Being just you as a person on top of being an entrepreneur who's influencing people's lives in health, fitness, wellness, that's a really big role to fill. And so you have to know that your PD isn't just because we want you to read 15 minutes because it's cool. It's like, that's going to be the glue that helps you stick together. And there is a difference between reading PD and there's a difference between doing PD. So sometimes I'll ask a coach, like, tell me some of the books you've been reading. And then I'm like, but wait, you haven't applied a single thing. You know, like the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins or the 10X rule by Grant Cardone. And I'm going to give you guys all my favorite PD at the end. That was the last note that I wrote. But just know that, like, if you feel like you're missing something, it's the growth. So your spirit and your soul is bigger than your brain. You guys are spending a lot of time up here in your mind thinking that, like, I have to get organized. You know how many times I hear that? I have to get organized. I have to find balance. I have to find time. And it's like, no, your spirit and your soul needs to grow. So I've been trying to work with some of my coaches who have unlimited potential, but they haven't spent time in their heart and in their soul. I'm not going to get all like woo spiritual on you guys, but I know that when I sit down with the computer and I'm like, I'm at Success Club Zero, I haven't helped anyone. What's going on in my business right now? Like, it's just like this funk, right? I hate to say that term, but what am I going to do about it? It comes down to my spirit and my soul. It's not necessarily about how smart I am or how talented I am. Sorry, Sean's not home and my dogs are doing something right now. Hey, what are you guys doing? Stop. Oh my God. No. They're running hot laps around my couch right now and everything's knocked over. I just heard cling, cling, clang because no one's watching us. Sorry. And I also have dog hair in my mouth. So your spirit and your soul is bigger than your brain. So it's really, I mean, we tell you guys, like, do your vital behaviors every single day. So then my question is, why don't people do the vital behaviors? I think that's where the spiritual growth and the PD is going to come in. And I think back to when I was starting this, and you probably have heard me say this so many times, but I became a student of growth. I didn't know how to grow. I didn't know what that even meant. I knew how to invite. You guys know how to invite. You know how to show up and drink a shake and do PD. You know how to do all that stuff. But it's when you actually start to grow into the role, like, okay, I read this thing in a book. This is what it says to do. Now I have to go and apply it. That's the difference between a Beachbody fitness coach and a CEO who's going to get results in their business. And the growth and the spiritual growth, as I always call it, pulling the cobwebs off, it's kind of like, okay, I signed up, but I feel all these things in my life that are still holding me down. Sometimes it takes a long time to pull off the sticky cobwebs. So don't give up. There's so many coaches that I've seen grow in their second year. Like their first year, they were like getting their footing in their journey, had awesome results. They were doing the PD or reading the PD, but they weren't doing the PD. And now they just kind of had this veil lifted off and they see the potential now. So I want you guys to have a little combo with your ego. And self-reflection is everything to me. I always ask myself, Colleen, on a scale of 1 to 10 for everything. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, when you wake up in the morning, how shitty is your attitude or how awesome is your attitude? On a scale of 1 to 10, like, did you crush your nutrition today or did you suck at it? And so that's just kind of how I help myself gauge where I need to focus. And I want you guys to have a little combo with your ego and figure out what your narrative is in your head. Like, are you telling yourself like, oh, I've got to get organized. I'm this really unorganized person, or I'm really shy, or I'm not good at social media. Like, what is the narrative that is playing in your head that you are like sticking to this ego, like you guys want it? I had to ask myself, who do I want to become? And I remember looking up to successful people, and it wasn't I wanted to become Elizabeth Hartke or Lindsay Matway. I said, I want to become a confident, strong leader in this business that is unstoppable, because I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I had that expectation already. And so the narrative that's playing and replaying in your head of why you're not moving forward or why you feel like you can't or why you feel stuck, be very aware of that story, because it sticks to you like glue until you realize it and you want to rip it off and you want to break through. So the spirit, like, I will never grow if I just sit here and read a book every single day and don't change any of my habits, or I don't take action on what I learn, or I don't apply, or I don't teach, or I don't influence others to learn what I'm learning. There's like, you might as well not even read the book if we're not actually applying it, right? So I keep hearing like the same type of stories and habits of where, you know, people they want this business, they need it. Like, I know your why is like the back of my hand. I'm not crazy. And I tell you guys all the time, like, I will help you in any way that I can to grow this business, but I can feel you holding yourself back because of the narrative that you might be telling yourself. So as an employee, we usually tend to put ourselves in that box of, okay, well, I'm a mom of 2, I'm tired, I don't have a physical transformation, or, I just feel like I'm repeating the things that people say to me of why they can't be successful, or, I'm really stressed out in my life right now. And it's just like, you have to be self-aware of the story you keep saying and say, actually, rather than being the tired, stressed out mom or the really stressed out person at work, start to say what you want to become. And that is the story you need to stick to. I'm really stressed, but here's who I want to be. Here's what I want to become. It's so much easier for us to say, I'm tired, I'm stressed, there's all this going on. And I'm not discrediting the hard in your life. There's actually, I don't remember who I was even talking to. I think maybe Leah Duranian. And I was like, you guys don't even know my life. I actually can't share a lot of it on social media because it wouldn't be fair to my husband or like his family or anything like that. And so I get it, guys. Like, my struggle is as hard as yours. I promise. In any way, shape, or form. Yours is no greater. Mine is no greater. Just see yourselves as equal and know that we can grow together through this. Because you don't know what happens in my house, or I don't know what goes on in your life behind the scenes every day, right? But I know that if I do the personal growth to become strong, when shit hits the fan, it feels so much easier. So who do you want to become? I want you guys to really focus on that narrative. So when I ask, and it's funny because I asked some of the leaders today, I was like, hey guys, like, how can I help your teams? And it was like a kind of a common theme where a lot of people don't have belief in themselves. And I think belief has 2 parts to it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you guys can answer in the chat rhetorically, whatever you want. How much do you believe in yourself? And how much do you believe in Beachbody? When I joined, I was like a 20 on a scale of 1 to 10. P90X, that shit works. Insanity, Shakeology, eating right, like that shit works. I had belief in this. And then the other part of belief in Beachbody was other people earn an income doing this. Other people are seeing success with this. I just had to make the decision if I wanted that too. And I didn't, if I stayed in the story of, well, I lost my job, I'm working 3 part-time jobs, I'm not in shape. Guys, we didn't have a training. My coach said, hit Emerald and Success Club. That's all I learned. If I could help every single face on this call hit Success Club 6 and above and be an Emerald coach, we would probably change the world. Like, that is how simple it can be. So it's not about the training. It's more so about the work that you're doing on yourself. And then I always and then of course on a scale of 1 to 10. I should probably look at some numbers. Okay, like this Beachbody, 100. I love it. And so sometimes you believe in Beachbody so much, but then you're like, but can I do it? And so then I always ask why. I dig a little bit deeper. So not only do we ask on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your belief? We can just say, oh, okay, cool, high five. Why is it maybe a 7 out of 10? And then I think that's our root cause. So, and it's amazing when I start getting really crazy and asking questions to coaches of like, why aren't you organized yet? Or here's the best question I was asked this week by my mentor. What habits do I currently have that are not serving me? And I was like, oh, that's scary. Because if I have to answer that, I already know why I'm not where I should be this month. What habits do you currently have in your life that are not serving you? And for most of you, it's like, do the freaking workout. For most of you, it's just hit send. For most of you, it's just make the freaking post. Show up on the team call, those kind of things. So it's not that you are not capable. It's just like these tiny little tweaks. And you will build your belief and your confidence as you start to say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10 today, I ate pizza and chips and ice cream. I'm just like listing off all bad things. I didn't eat all these things, but like tomorrow I do better. And that's where your habit starts. You don't dwell on all the shit you ate yesterday. You pick up, and that's the key, is fixing the problem not 20 days from now when it's easier. And when life slows down a little bit, you do it immediately the next day. And so I love this. I don't even remember where I got it from, but every problem that you have can be fixed with the right consistent. So if you want to lose weight, We already know the answer to that. If you want to build confidence, I hope you guys know the answer to that. Do your workout, drink your shake, hang out with people who bring you up, do the personal development, and get out of your comfort zone. Your confidence account will build as you build your habits to make yourself feel empowered. Okay? So every single problem that you have, whatever narrative is floating in your head, can be fixed if you're willing to work at it consistently with the habit you should be working on. Water break. I feel like I'm totally like kind of ranting, but I get excited talking about this stuff, so lucky you guys. And then I'm going to give you guys my favorite PD recommendations, of course. So the beginning of your growth is going to start with realizing that it's you and your mind every single day. You know that the human brain has 80,000 thoughts a day? No wonder why we're tired, right? And it's not just you having a conversation with yourself. Because when you're driving to work and you're like, mother effer just cut me off and da-da-da-da, and oh my God, I have to go to work, and all the things in your head, it's you and your conscience having a conversation every single day. And what's awesome is you control you, and then you control the conversation that you have with your conscious. You are able to control the narrative. The conscious does not rule you. You do. That's where people are getting stuck. Is they're not masked. They're just like, but I'm this, and they're living in this life of stuck without realizing 70 years has gone by and they were in control the whole time. And that I don't want for people. I so badly want to help people wake up tomorrow morning and check their attitude, check their thoughts. When it gets sad and when it gets hard, don't do depressed things like drink wine, eat Netflix, eat pizza, and I say this with all the love, like sit in your bed all day and cry. Because I know that by the end of the day, like when I was having my moment, I was like, Colleen, you've got like 2 hours to just freaking ugly cry it out. And then I cuddled my doggies. I took a deep breath and I was like, now I have to apply myself. Because if I kept doing the depressed actions, that is when people become depressed, when they just stay in that familiar cycle, okay? And I hope that never offends anyone because I know that you guys deal with hard shit. But I would love for us to change the world with helping people come out of difficult moments. That's what this is about, right? Like, forget Shakeology sales for a second. I want to help you guys wake up and feel like a badass. And then your habits are just going to start picking up like this because you're so confident in yourself that you're like, I pulled myself out of the difficult moment. I know a lot of you probably don't know my story, but there was a moment when, Sean and I were broken up. He moved out of the house and I had that I cannot get out of bed feeling. And I was like, I don't want this feeling. So this was like my first moment of personal growth. And I was like, okay, 2 feet on the floor. You need to take a shower, girlfriend. I got in the shower and I remember trying to wash my hair and my arms felt like they were noodles. And I was so weak and so sad, but I just kept taking the steps and I just kept taking the steps. And I just wanted Sean to text me, like you guys have all been through love story stuff, right? This is like 5 years ago now, but I was like, I just wanted to text me. And I got myself together and 2 hours later, weirdly enough, guess who texted me? And we hadn't talked in a long time. And now we've been back together ever since. But that was like a really weird moment for me. And I specifically remember that I can't get out of bed. I feel depressed. I feel broken. I feel alone. And I was like, but you got to do this for you, girl. And so that was a huge growth moment for me. Okay, so now I want to share with you guys some high performance habits. So the last 3 podcasts I did end up finding were I listened to Tony Robbins and Pitbull. And I actually hate Pitbull music. Sean and I despise it. No offense if you like it, but it's just too poppy for me. And he's an amazing business guy. If you guys ever get the chance to listen to him, do it. And you guys can go listen to the Tony Robbins and the Pitbull podcast. It's really good. It's on Tony Robbins' podcast. And he was just talking about what sets successful people apart. And that's kind of my obsession too of how can I help more people who think they're unsuccessful become successful? And so when you hear the word high performers, it's the top 15%. So there's the bottom 85%, and then there's the top 15%. And so I've been studying coaches like, Bill Belichick, all these champion-like world champion coaches. Like, how do they create? That's pretty much what you are doing, is you're influencing people to take action, to buy into your mission, to get awesome results. So you guys can think football, hockey, whatever sport you like. And I love the idea of Olympians and champions because it's fascinating to me what those people do. They live and breathe it all day. And I can't remember the name of the book. It actually might be this title, but it's Winning Starts in the Locker Room. That could be like the intro. I mix all my PD up, but I remember things. And they talked about how it's really not, you would think it's about like the best throws and the best kicks in football and the best tackles and all this, but what we don't see, like most of you guys don't see for us individually, is the work they do behind the scenes. All the healthy foods that they need to eat, all the practices that they do. You guys don't think that they do mindset work. You guys don't think that they go to therapists. You guys don't think that they have problems at home, So like they're champions on stage, but they're still a human being behind the scenes, and it starts in the locker room. So treat your business like that. Like, my brain is my locker room, and it's you and this ugly little conscience every single day. I want you guys to man up, have the strong, confident ego to be like, Conscious, we are not going down that rabbit hole today. Lean into this opportunity. It's given me so many stepping stones to make me realize that everyone else is just stepping along either faster than me. If they're getting more results and I'm not, they're either just stepping harder, faster, they're doing something. But I know that they're mastering up here. So whenever when I went to the High Performance Academy for Brendon Burchard, I'm the type of person when they tell me what high performers do, I'm like, I'm gonna do that. So don't overcomplicate it. Just become that student, and you have to kind of be willing to apply those things. And sometimes that takes a lot of gut check and ego work because you don't wanna necessarily wake up before you have to. You don't want to do that. But top performers, they learn that when it's uncomfortable, they learn how to stay there. So I had a conversation with one of my PS coaches today. She's kind of going through a rough place and things are difficult. And I made a suggestion, which was totally in front of her the whole time, but someone just had to help her kind of see it. And I was like, girl, when one door closes, like I'm pregnant right now, it feels like my pelvis got booted by a football player. Like I can't squat and lunge anymore. So what am I going to do? My options in Beachbody are yoga. Like, I don't even know what else I could do, but I'm going to do yoga. And so I suggested that she did yoga. And so there's going to be a door that slams in your face. But successful people don't just say, I don't know what to do. They learn, they adapt, they try, they start. Remember how I said you ate all the pizza and chips and bullshit today, but tomorrow you're going to start. That's how you build up that consistency and that muscle. Day 1 of insanity sucks, but by day 60, you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that's me. I believe in you guys more than you would ever know. And if I could individually mentor all of you, like when I do calls, they're never like 5 minutes. They're like 40 minutes because I just can't help it. I just want to help. I can't do that for all of you. And I think it's awesome that you guys come to the call. So my coach told me today I should be a therapist because I always help her. And I said, no. I have just been through similar scenarios and I just figured out success a little bit faster because I went through like so much shit before and I just don't ever want to be there. And I remember thinking like, I'm going to become a champion. I'm going to master my life. I will become the Olympian. That these are just like the things I wanted for myself. So the high performance habits, there's 6 of them. And I will briefly go over them because they are in the high performance habit book. And if you guys aren't familiar, if you weren't at Summit or if you don't remember, he spent years, hundreds of surveys, and he works with Oprah. He works with Olympian athletes. He did all this analytical research, asking questions, just diving into what the F makes a high performer. And he had 100 habits, then it was 11, and then they narrowed it down to 6. So when I went to his academy and I got to learn these 6, I was like, this totally makes sense. And I love it because it really applies to what we do as coaches. So it's kind of like you guys have an upper hand to becoming a high performer. So the first thing is seeking clarity. And that word, I think, is overused because a lot of people are like, I don't know what I want. I just think that you have to have someone who's going to ask you really good questions and help you discover. So you guys all have an upline and a Star Diamond upline. And even if your Star Diamond upline is not necessarily active, you have a Star Diamond upline, okay? There's someone on this team that will help you unleash your greatness. But here's the key. If you're not showing up for yourself and not working out and not doing something to show like I mean business, you don't deserve someone's time to be mentored in that way. And I mean that with all the love, but you have to show up first. Whenever a coach messages me and they haven't done shit, I'll give them the pep talk, high five, whatever. I'll give them what they need to hear. But when I get a message from a coach and I go to their page and I'm like, damn, this person's been putting in work, they deserve my time. So put in the work for yourself first, and then you guys will have access to unlimited mentoring that you would like beyond your wildest dreams. When I started showing up for myself, like my coach, Liz, I love her. I love you, Liz, so much. But I was such a self-starter that when I went to her, I was so independent that like the mentorship was just not working. And so I had to reach higher and bigger and go way outside of her team to get the mentorship that I needed to apply myself. But imagine if I wasn't applying myself and I was sending out these messages, these people wouldn't help me. So seeking clarity is honestly about like, keep it simple for yourself, especially if you're a newer coach. What does your daydream life look like? Like pull all the limitations away. Not the, this is what I hear all the time. If I could quit my job, that would be great. Or if I could make my car payment, that would be great. You're already talking yourself out of it. You're talking to the bullshit ego narrative that thinks you can't have it. Start being assumptive of, here's what I really want. And so to me, clarity is claiming what you want. If you don't have hobbies, if you haven't tried anything new, if you haven't gone on a new date in a while, if you haven't done something outside of the little comfy box you've been living in, it's really hard to see clarity, right? The second, and that's the first high performance habit, is knowing what you want. Because if you don't know what you want and you don't spend time adventuring and exploring that, you're basically just existing every day. And because you don't have any direction of going after what you want. And I want to go back to how I said in the beginning, too, of really asking what your daydream life would be like. Don't allow yourself to say, it would be nice if. That's not the narrative we want to use. One of the coaches at our team retreat, she was like, my husband makes good money, so cool, whatever. And I was like, but that is thinking like in a box. Like we make X amount. We don't really need extra money. To live abundantly and vibrantly and inspire people in a big way, your box has to grow a little bit. So like, okay, why not put 40 grand in the bank for my kids' college or whatever, just start dreaming a little bit more. That's one thing that Liz and I did work on together. When she asked me, what does your daydream life look like? My imagination started to penetrate into the little clouds that I never allowed myself to dream about before. And super creepy, all of those things have come to reality for me. Like I never thought that I would have Sean home pursuing his business. Like that is super crazy weird to me. Really crazy. Okay. The second habit is generating energy. So high performers know how to generate energy. We're fitness coaches, right? A lot of us are still working on our ability to get the habit down of getting into committing to a full program and getting it done. But you guys like have that solution on lockdown. But it's also important to know how you manage your energy. So I have learned, bless my parents' heart, when I go and hang out with them, their environment sucks the soul out of me because they have the news on. and then this negativity. And I'm like, Mom and Dad, you're like infiltrating my little happy bubble right now. And so I have a bubble that does protect me in a way that if the news is on, I'm like, hey, can we watch something else for like 20 minutes? And I know because that news is going to penetrate me and bother me. So it's not just about being happy and healthy and doing 25 push-ups and drinking your Energize. Like that's not generating energy necessarily. It's about taking the energy you do have and being able to manage it and knowing how to find more of it and to keep what you do have. If there's people at your job that drive you crazy, you have to learn how to let that shit roll off. Otherwise, it's you and your conscience exhausting your brain for 15 minutes about how much you want to punch your coworker in the face. That is not about generating energy. And a power plant does not have energy. It doesn't just show up. A power plant is generating the energy consistently. And that's what we are. So for me, my energy is my top. I only have 3 priorities. You should only have 3 priorities in your life. If you have 25 million priorities or even 5 or 6 or 7, too many. To get ahead in life, stick to 3 for now. Maybe you can add 4 or 5 later. But my energy, my space, my self-care, how I feel is number 1. I even put it sometimes I interchange it with my family. Like, of course family's more important, but it's like, I want my oxygen mask on first so I can love and care and enjoy my family time and teach them. And I just want to give to them. So I know that in the mom world, I'm learning. I have like half of the mom world in my life that is really suffering in that. And then I have half the mom world in my life that they make mom life seem really easy. And it's because they've learned to manage their energy and put their oxygen mask on first through really good habits. So it's funny how there can be like, I have a 33-year-old cousin with 7 children who homeschools them. She used to be a coach in our team and she has a 6-pack. And I'm just like, actually, she still is a coach in our team. She's just not on Facebook. She's on Instagram. You guys should go follow her. Her Facebook is My Lil Lil Tribe. 7 kids. And she looks freaking amazing. Still does her workout. And like, you're just like, how? Like I'm pregnant. I don't have a kid yet. And I'm like, how? And it's just the world and the reality that people live in. She doesn't make it this huge deal. She's learned to manage those habits. Okay. That was a side tangent. So to be a high performer, you have to learn how to generate energy. So tomorrow morning, you have to focus on your thoughts. Where are your habits? Where are you spending your time? When you're at work, on your lunch break, when you're driving, are you bumping beats? Like, or are you listening to trash talk radio? Or are you listening to something for 10 minutes that pumps you up and then you go listen to some music? I tell my husband that all the time because he's a music pumper and I'm like a shut the music off type person. I need my quiet. I was like, you spend a lot of time listening to music. You need to like listen to 10 minutes of a podcast or something. So that's a habit. And today when I listen to a podcast, it's like they speak to my soul. I'm like, yes, yes. And then I'm pumped up for the day. So the third, I love this one. This is the third habit. High performers, they raise their necessity. So that basically means that they raise the bar. They require more of themselves, just a little bit more. It doesn't need to be like, okay, you know the whole saying, I am enough? I struggle with that sometimes because it works for people, I think, that are like kind of stable in their life, but the miserable people who don't want to make changes, if they just keep saying, I am enough, then they stay miserable and stuck, it doesn't really work. You know, there's a difference between saying, I am enough, I'm capable, I'm getting up tomorrow morning and I'm crushing my workout because I am enough. Or just saying, I don't need to work out, I am enough. There's like 2 completely different perspectives there. And so it's a high performer. So you guys want to be in the top 15% of the world, business, just crushing your life. You must take okay, I'm cool here in my life. This is like I'm content. And you have to raise the bar. And that's where that tenacity to like, okay, I could sit on the couch and watch Chicago Fire tonight and eat my ice cream, but I'm a high performer. I'm going to raise my necessity because I'm going to feel better when my workout is done, or I'm going to sacrifice the 40-minute show and the ice cream, make a Shakeology mug cake, and I'm going to do some work. you know? So it's just this constant self-reflection of I'm responsible for my choices. And that's something that most entrepreneurs are not willing to do. You're not willing to take responsibility for your choices. And then we start justifying. So clarity, generating energy, high performers raise their necessity. Like for me, I want all the goals. I want all the things. And not because I'm greedy and want materialistic things. I just love achievement. I love feeling fulfilled. Because when I go backwards in my business and when I go backwards on my journey, I'm sure you guys can agree, it's not a good feeling. So that's why I'm consistently kind of raising that bar. The fourth high performance habit is increasing productivity. Productivity is a word. As soon as Brendon Burchard said that, I wanted to just stop listening. I'm like, become more productive. That means I need to manage my time better. It actually was really quite interesting. So I hope you guys end up reading the book because I'm giving you guys the cliff notes of how this applies to coaching. But increasing productivity is actually the complete opposite of what I expected him to say. It's things like work for 15 to 30 minutes, go take a 5-minute break. You are more productive when you take breaks. I bet you would have never thought that that's what he would say. And I catch myself all the time. So I actually bought myself a kitchen timer on Amazon and I set my timer. And as soon as that shit goes off, I'm like, gotta go. Even if I have a call, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be 10 minutes late. My energy is so important to me. The call can wait 10 minutes. So increasing productivity in his terms too, high performers are honestly just putting a higher level of output out there. It's not like, high performers do 100 more invites. That's not what the higher level of output means. It's more they're being focused. So if you guys send out 100 half-ass invites, what's more beneficial? Sending out 20 really heartfelt ones that you have planned out, that you've built a relationship with, you gave them some value, they're in your free group, those 20 or 100 half-ass ones. So this is what I mean. It's not doing more. That's not increasing productivity. It's being specific. So I still have all my notes from his seminar. His productivity tips and stuff are amazing. And I love how he actually talks in there. I just lost my train of thought. Productivity. He talks about how successful people work out 4 to 5 days a week and they eat healthy. Tony Horton is actually his business partner, and Tony Horton comes in to Brendon Burchard's seminars and talks about health and fitness because he always says aging is for idiots, right? So it's all these run down, tired, stressed out business people because they're not managing their energy and their habits. I have to tell you this cool story too. So Brendon Burchard does all his own talks and events. He has no hype man or anything like that. Like Tony Robbins, if you ever go to his events, he only talks for 1 day and that's it. So you're paying for this event, but he's done so much talking and he didn't manage his vocal cords. So that's why he sounds like he smoked 20,000 cigarettes. Brendon Burchard has learned how to manage his vocal output. He takes ice baths every night after his seminars because he stands on stage in dress shoes and in a suit. And I'm like, ouch, at first. And he is just up there for hours and it's just amazing. And he's like, I've learned how to be productive and manage my energy. And so his habits are very extreme, but it's so cool to me because it's kind of in our realm of what we do. Okay, so the fifth high performance, sorry, I'm really long-winded tonight, but fires me up, is developing influence. And so how do you guys think how do you think you influence people? I want to see if anyone knows. Well, I take a water break. Tony Horton is awesome. If you guys ever get to leadership, which I know you will when you get to leadership, not if you ever, when you get there, you will get to meet him. I get to take a picture every year with him. Integrity is a good one. Be yourself. Good. So lead by example, super close. It's just like a tiny little different way to think about how we influence people. And this is how I always analyze social media. You can influence a person when you teach them how to think. So I want you to think real quick about the person who's influenced your life the most. And it's probably not someone that taught you how to just ride a bike. Maybe it's someone who taught you how to not be scared when you get on the bike. They taught you how to think. So Brendan Burchard made us do this whole exercise, and he had us write out the top 3 people that we look up to. And they are all people who have influenced the way that I think and the way that I act. So yes, leading by example is super. So you guys might think that, getting people to buy a challenge pack or getting people to join your team is about your abs or all the things you guys said, leading by example. But it's more so about, yes, you did your workout, high five. But what did you have to do to mentally get yourself to press play on that workout after a really hard day? How did you feel? It's teaching people how to think. So let that sink in. I can influence people if I can teach them how to think. You guys don't always have to stand on a soapbox and get preachy on people. I'm not saying that's what you have to do, because sometimes I'm like, Colleen, get it together. You're totally like preaching right now, like I am on this team call. But I just think of, I think Bonnie Engel is one of the best examples, because a lot of people are like, how does Bonnie just get people to sign up and do what she says? Like, it's Success Club, become a 1-star, do all these goals, right? And it's because she's done such a good job of teaching people how to think. She rarely, sometimes talks about fitness and shares that and all that. So this is kind of where the CEO hat will start to come on for a lot of you, more so than just the fitness coach. And if you're new, give it some time. It's going to take some time to become a killer, committed, not perfect, dedicated challenger to your journey. Go through the growing pains of learning the business, and then you're going to say, now what? I'm helping people. I'm making some money. I've changed my life. Now what? And that's when you figure out how to serve others. And that's when your true mission and your passion and your dedication to helping other people and teaching them how to think. Because I've all told you how to hit Success Club. I've told you what I say in my conversations. I've told you how I recruit a coach. I've told you what to say in what is coaching events. But we're not all doing those things because we're still working on how we think, which is so cool. I love the journey. But don't discredit yourself. So that's actually, Melissa, you should talk to Candace about that a little bit. So I have found, hopefully Candace doesn't mind me sharing this story, but when I remember Candace used to shut down because her inbox would just be like, oh, too many people. Especially, it's exhausting, right? Like you're putting out all this love. You're like, I want to love you. I want to change your life and Shakeology and talk to 50 people. And then by the end of the day, you're like, I fucking hate this job. It's like we're people's therapists, right? So what I learned is keep it simple. And I kind of taught her how to have 3 things that you talk about. I compliment them. We kind of shoot the shit for a second. Like you get your first impression of the person from like the first few back and forths, right? Like, if this conversation is going to be bad or good. At least I personally can tell. I don't know about you guys. And then I pretty much am going into like how I'm going to be changing their life. And it's in some way, shape, or form talking about what I do, what I offer. Your vibe is like, I get to the chase. Your vibe is awesome. I would truly, honestly love to invite you to my online wellness community. I'm not talking about like their work day and their boss. Like I don't go that far. I definitely like touch on it and I get to know them, but I let my social media do the work. And that's where some of you are probably working. And it takes time to build up that attraction marketing. But imagine if you made awesome posts and shared an awesome journey every day from now until the end of the year, where your conversations would be in terms of sending an invite and getting a little bit more direct so that it's not so exhausting. That's kind of, I know, and it happens a lot. I think about Amy Silverman or Bonnie, and they have, they hit Success Club 100 plus every single month. And they have to talk to these people, and they're sure as hell not being their therapist. As much as we want to be that for people, when they come into my community, that's their therapy. I cannot carry them because shit, I'm over here waddling around trying to carry myself. Okay? So I just wanted to answer that question real quick. So you develop influence by teaching people how they think. And then the very last one speaks for itself. To become a high performer, this habit of demonstrating courage is something we have to focus on. So if you focus on these 6 habits, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Do I know what I want in my life? Do I wake up feeling awesome or feeling like shit every day? Do I raise my necessity? Like, I don't want to do my vital behaviors, but I'm a high performer. I'm going to do it. That's that kind of grit. On a scale of 1 to 10, where's your productivity? Sometimes I wonder where people spend their time. If I ever ask you guys how many hours a week you work at your job, you know I'm on to your time management. And then, do you feel like you're able to influence people? And that can be kind of an ouchy question for me lately. It's been like, man, no one really wants to join me. Clearly I'm not cool enough, or whatever, whatever ego story I'm telling myself. And on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, I feel like my influence is more like a 6, where I used to be like, oh, like 8, 9. I'll never say 10 because we're never perfect. But it's just really good for you guys to kind of take a look at these habits. And demonstrating courage in this business is extremely easy, I think, personally. Like, I think about demonstrating courage in lipstick or skincare. I'm like, how do you do that? I don't know. So it fits right in. Okay, favorite PD recommendations I will give to you guys. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz was a big game changer for me. The John C. Maxwell's Thinking for a Change was a huge game changer for me. I already told you guys The Untethered Soul. Right now, currently, like I was sharing that example with you guys. I was flipping through my books and I was like, this isn't working and this isn't connecting and this isn't connecting. And so I've been digging a little bit on podcasts and videos, but honestly, like almost like becoming a student again and going back to listening to a national wake-up call. National wake-up call can be your PD for the day. Listening to a training video can be your PD for the day. It doesn't always have to be like you are a badass or whatever. It can't always be the feel-good stuff. You guys do have to go through the business work too. But my favorite PD personally is, what am I going to do today, action-wise, in my business to move my business forward? That's my PD. And I've had to go learn how to run a like page. I've had to go self-teach how to completely do a website. I've had to self-teach, and like to some of you, that might not even be on your radar. I want to be a high performer. I have to be evolving. Raise the necessity. If I just stayed on my personal page for the last 4 years, I wouldn't be where I am. Right? Okay. I feel like I've given you guys a lot. I had a lot on my heart. I had to share it with you guys. Number 4. Did someone already answer it? Okay, yes. If all of this is just like in one ear and out the other, just take out of this that you can change your life through your habits, and whatever problem you have can be fixed with the right consistent. So if you don't feel happy or confident, like that's what you zone in on and you master that shit. Like think about tomorrow, you're walking into the locker room, you're on a professional team because you guys are on a badass team. It starts in the locker room. Like you can't go out on the playing field with a crappy attitude and a bad diet and you didn't practice this week, right? So it really starts in the locker room. I didn't know if you guys had any questions. Thanks for listening to me blab. I hope you guys had some fun. I'm gonna go. If you guys have questions, I'm glad that you liked it. Candace, thank you. I will post the recording in the team page. 3 pages of notes, yay. So I'll give you guys my high performance tip of how I, like, cause like after Summit, or for example, like after an event, I can't even talk right now. Usually this goes home and collects dust and sits over there. I give myself some time to sleep on it because when I get off these calls, I feel like I just ran a marathon. And so like, I don't do any more work. And then tomorrow I will go back and I will review it. And only a couple things are really going to stick for you guys, right? Because we can't digest it all. Just take something and stick to it. And that could be the glue that helps propel your business forward. And get that book. It's a really good book. I suggest that you guys like put $20 away every week if you can and get to Brendon Burchard's High Performance Academy. If anyone ever wants to ask me what to invest in, he only does 2 events a year. That event is awesome because you're surrounded by high performers. It is the most elevating feeling ever. Okay, inspo cup full. Yeah, action items from each call and apply. Next event is in Arizona. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. I'll see you guys later.